us, they align us in this place of what that formula taught me to do was constantly give. Oftentimes giving away thousands of dollars worth of coaching. Not only that, but spending 60, 80, 100 hours sometimes in these free challenges that very often nobody ever bought from me in those challenges, or very few. Sometimes they worked, sometimes they didn't. I guess it was all an emotional response for them. And I'm telling you this authentically because if there's been any of that you've seen that didn't feel authentic, it's because it didn't feel right to me. And when I just stopped doing it, it was because I thought, I'm not doing it. It doesn't feel good. But that conditioning of giving and 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 giving, was still there. 9 years doing something, we have to unravel it. So, different things you start to realize, if I don't value myself, then why would other people value me? Not that I regret anything, because everything is about learning. I just got off the phone with a mentor of mine who is an amazing author and just, talks very openly and freely about lots of the things that he's been doing, and has been really a big help to me in the last couple of weeks as I'm writing another book and we're reviving my current book. And, one of the things he said is, it took 9 years for him to really build the platform and the audience that, that he needed. And not one thing does he regret in doing, because everything was a learning lesson. And I absolutely feel the same way. And it's not somebody else's responsibility to give us our value or teach us our worth. We have to take that journey, and that's inside of us. Our value and our worth is something that's inside of us, and the value of what we have to offer, whether it's, being a teacher where you're making a certain amount of money and you decide that you want a promotion and that you're going to go for that, whether you're an executive and a CEO, in an organization, if you're going to settle for a lower salary than what you deserve, then you're going to start building resentment towards any of those things. And we're going to build resentment in those places where we feel like we're boundaryless ultimately, or we're not getting our worth, or we're not getting our value. And as I've been really deep into this journey for the last couple of weeks, it was really about walking through that formula that I use to allow myself to go into those places where I felt not valued, not heard, not seen. And not just, this sounds like some just business, but it's not just business, because any theme shows up. It doesn't just show up in one area, it shows up in many. So, in friendships, in connections, in family, in different places that it was sort of showing up. And so you walk through it and then you realize that, oh, that's just surface bullshit. That's the power of the formula, is that by going through it, you get to the truth. And the truth is my own recognition that, if you're not clear and you don't have a plan and you don't have a direction and that you don't have any of these things, it's going to be really hard to go there. And if you don't have boundaries, it's not somebody else's responsibility to give them to you. If you don't have value yourself, it's not somebody else's responsibility to value you. If you don't do those things for yourself, then, other people, it's not about if someone's coming in to take or they're not, whatever, they're just taking what you're offering. It's not them, it's not anything, but it becomes about, where are you compromising? Where are you settling? And not just about, I'm not talking about a monetary place either, right? Because sometimes when we hear these conversations, we think it's just about money, but I'm not talking about money. I'm talking about time, respect. Sometimes, people come into my programs, they steal my work, they go and recreate this stuff. And I, oftentimes don't do anything. I have, people who sometimes come in, they read all my blogs, they go recreate my blogs. That feels ugly to me, right? Sometimes when people are just coming to take from you. And then there's, places where, we don't feel respected. People are canceling all the time, or they're not showing up, or, they're late. If you have a friend, this is not just business or career, but, if you have a friend or a business associate or, anyone else, you lose, it's hard to stay in that respectful place with people when, they erode that boundaries and respect with you, but it's not their responsibility. And that's oftentimes where our truthful places come in. So when we get there, then we can actually make a change and do something about it. So through all of this and through allowing myself to really take that deep break, I was brought back to the work and the purpose and the reason of why I do what I do. And during this break and during this time where I was walking through this, and I realized that all of this has been happening because, well, my nervous system had a chance to calm down, and it didn't need, it just needed that season is over, and let it be over. We don't need to go that way. So I've been in like a release, a fall and winter season, a nurturing season. And through that, I've been working with some really amazing and incredible people who've been really helping me kind of define what that next level looks like for me. And I've done vision quests and dismemberment ceremonies and all kinds of, wild and crazy shit that I get into inside my stuff that, any of my clients or people who've been on my retreats know what lots of this looks like. So you get into this stuff, and I've done it. And one of the questions that I got asked was, do people really know what you do for them? And I thought, it's super easy to just get trapped in that like place of lack of clarity sometimes, because if you don't have a direct path or you don't have a plan, that some of this doesn't, we're not always doing the things that we need to be doing, and we're just doing a bunch of things. And then if that doesn't land or it doesn't resonate, we feel all kinds of things about it, instead of actually taking that step back and realizing, wait a minute, do people know what I do? And that was where, part of that blog and my Sage Living that I wrote out was, do people actually know what I do? And because so many people have not been here, lots of new people, which I'm excited and amazed about, but, have I done a good job in really showing people what I do? And then I realized I haven't, because in the last year, I didn't have the clarity myself. I knew that I didn't want to stop the work. I knew that my work is powerful. It saved marriages, changed lives, help people, overcome body image. And when I say save marriages, most times I'm not a marriage coach. I'm not a marriage counselor. I'm not a relationship coach. But a lot of people come to me because they're angry or they're upset or they're things, and that comes in here. And a lot of times people are saying, I'm thinking about, different things come up about our relationships, and we're frustrated. And then they start to realize like, oh, this is not actually about what I think it's about, and it's about something deeper. So, I think, some of the things, I look around at all the marriages and relationships that have been saved, the careers that people, almost walked away from and quit when they actually realized like that they were the person who really needed to lean in and make the changes within there. So many different things that I've seen it work so many times that I can't not believe in it. But I've carried a pretty big story, a pretty bad story, that I don't know how to do business. And that's, through my process that I uncovered that I don't know what I'm doing from this perspective. I know what I'm doing in the work, but I don't know what I'm doing over here, which is bullshit. But this is the stuff that we tell ourselves. And so only when we're willing to go in to that dark space and unpack it, do we find the gold and the truth and actually be able to pull our power back from it on our own knowing, right? So through all of this and through the immense break that I've taken and the conversations that I've had with, business people and friends in business and clients, and just taking the time and the space and allowing myself to work through that process, I realized I'm ready for the level. And I have my arrow, and I did an arrow landing ceremony last night as part of the full moon. So, I realized I'm really ready. And then I had, a really amazing conversations about my book and my writing and, where some of these things are going. And I realized that what was laid out for me is being pulled by a vision of the future and no longer pushed by the pain of the past. And it's a beautiful place, is that I really, have curated and cultivated this beautiful image of what I want to create in the world and how I want to serve and how I want to help people, because I can, because I've been there. And so there's a couple of things that I really want to say. And I know this video was way longer than I was hoping. I always think I'm going to do everything in like 15 or 20 minutes, but like everything is like never that. So there's a couple of things that I decided to do in my ways of giving. One, there's ways that I no longer want to give because they just don't feel good to me, and they're not going to feel good to you if I give and I don't want to fucking give. Like, I want you to take that lesson, not just from this conversation, but think about the areas of your life where you give, but maybe you don't want to give, but it's conditioning to give. So I realized that there's ways that I don't want to do it. So I'm not going to do it. And there's ways that I do want to do it. So what feels good to me to do, as opposed to what some marketing place or some business person or, like and not that it's not good, like these were all amazing coaches and they're all amazing people and I love them dearly. And I've learned so much from so many of them and what worked, but the point is that what works for one doesn't always work for everybody. And so our work has to be really intuitive, which is my work is to lead you into you so that you know your path. Oftentimes what happens when we listen to someone else's path, it really ends up, muddying the water for us. And not everyone is like that. Like, if you're selling sneakers or you're selling a product or you're selling whatever, but why I stepped away from sort of that style was because I was like, you're taking soul work, packaging it up and making it into this commodity that just doesn't feel good. What I'm really doing here is inviting people who are really interested in a deep journey. And so this is where I decided my thing is that I want to go deeper, not wider. I don't want to cast a net and capture people who don't fucking want to be here. I don't want to send emails to people who don't want them. I don't want to have conversations with people who don't want them. I don't want to ask people to come on a journey that they're not going to come on, or maybe they're not ready yet to come on. I want to honor people's timeline for when they can, and I want to really work with going deeper on things. So I've made some bigger decisions around certain things, narrowed my focus. So that's what I've sort of been doing while I'm off planting flowers and, sun tanning. I've been really like digging into those things and really getting clarity and focus on where I'm going and what I'm doing. And so one of the things that I've decided to do is I want to show you what I can do for you. And by doing that, I'm going to create basically a live coaching experience that's called the Tanya Whittle experience. And if you've ever had one, then you know that it's accurately named. Or as someone I know the other day who was here, we went through, a process and, it was basically like you just got like told. And it's not about telling someone anything. It's about pulling it out of you. It's about asking the right questions and following that weave of, what's buried in there, what's taking your power, because a lot of the times we're assigning meaning to things that aren't, they're not connected, and we connect them and all of this stuff, and it holds us back from our power and our truth and our passion and the places that we want to go. So I want to show you this. So I'm going to open up, the Tanya Whittle experience, where I'm going to give people an opportunity to get coaching for free. That feels like a give because I feel like I'm actually helping people with the time that I'm using, and then I get to showcase, what I do. So for you, if for people to be able to see what I do, then when you're ready and the time is right for you, or somebody who needs it, then I'm the person that you're going to think about. So it's twofold, right? I'm going to give, but in that giving, at some, when people are ready for the journey, you know where to come, where to find me, so to speak. And that feels good to me, instead of sort of like a ton of fucking random shit or, whatever that we're sort of doing, living in this, living on hopium, as I call it, that becomes sort of like a drug where you're just doing things like you're throwing spaghetti at the wall to see what fucking sticks. And like, that's not good for me, and it's not good for other people. And if I'm showing up to give in a way that doesn't feel good to me, it's not going to feel good to you. But showing up in a way that feels good to me, but also that really gets you to see inside my world and really understand what I do and how I do it, and get to see it in action, then you can really see the power of how life-changing it really is. The other thing that I've really decided to land on is sometimes it's really hard, because even like in my marketers, and if you're watching, there's a couple of them that I've worked with over the years, and even one particular right now, who's done a bunch of my work. And I said to her, Denise, I'm looking at you, right? So I've said to her, how would you tell people about what I do? And she's like, fuck, I don't even know, right? And so when I got asked this question in a mastermind that I'm in, I realized, no, it's really, sometimes it's really challenging to explain what I do and how I do it. So I'm going to show you. And that's going to be an authentic, beautiful give. And that's how I used to do it. When I first came into this work for the first 4 or 5 years, that's what I used to do. I used to just show up and say, hey, who needs help? Who needs support? But also I've asked a friend recently, like, what would you tell people that I could help them with? And she's like, anything, like anything. And I was like, yeah, but like you have to narrow sometimes your focus and have some clarity. So in this process as well, I developed some clarity around some of the things that I believe that I can truly help people with, which are ultimately based in much of my journey and other things. I will add things down the road when they feel right, or things like that. And, when it comes to like custom design programs or corporate programs, those will always sort of be different, but I'm talking, from this perspective. But the 3 top areas and the 3 sort of challenges that people are facing, and my solution and helping you with the solution to that will be people who are really dealing with a weight problem or body image. I say weight because that might not actually be your problem, like, but people have body image, people have all kinds of things. And that was such a deep pain point for me when I started my journey of healing my own eating disorders and dealing with self-hate and dealing with all of this stuff that I had around my body, and understanding why I was destroying it instead of taking care of it, and why I wasn't taking care of it. I believe that I have a direct path to be able to take people there fast and easy. And much of the fitness stuff that came back suddenly made sense about why it came back to me, because I know that this is a path that I can really help people on who have been struggling with their fitness, struggling with their weight, spending so much money and time and obsessing and holding themselves back from a beautiful and incredible life that we get to live because of so much pain when it comes to this. And I know how to solve that. And I know how to solve it pretty quickly, in uncovering what's really underneath that. So that's, something that I'm going to be talking about. Also, the medicine for the soul work, which, can have a bunch of different things, but it's about power loss. So people who feel powerless, people who feel like you woke up one day and you're like, how did I get here? How is this my life? Why don't I feel like myself? I feel like I'm lost. I'm struggling. This is sort of the energy that we're going to go into there. And that's power loss. Now, power loss is also what people are experiencing in their weight, but I want to be very distinct in those two paths, is that if this is your problem, this is where we're going to go. If it's something else, this is where we're going to go. So they're still sort of, enmeshed in the same formula, but in the path, all I'm going to talk about is this. Whereas in medicine for the soul, we're going to be looking at, where did your soul go? Why do you feel powerless? Why do you feel disconnected? Why are you just numb going through life? Why are you not choosing your life and settling for what comes? We're going to be dealing with deep level conditioning in some of that stuff. And then my third focus is going to be life purpose. I'm fucking obsessed with people and their life purpose. Like, it excites me to no end to see people come to me and say, you know what, I want to write a book, or I want to start this business, or I want to do this thing, or I want more, but I don't know what it is. And so it's purpose seekers, people who might be happy. You might have everything. Your health is okay. Your finances are okay. You have a great job. You might be happy in all areas of your life. And maybe you're not, but you might be, and be very happy in a lot of areas of your life, but you know that you were born for more. And I love nothing more than like pulling that out of people and seeing that magic unfold. And then my writing will also, just be a part of sort of all of that stuff. So that's what I uncovered from the journey and about where my path is going. I have a vision of what a lot of things are going to look like. So you'll get to see some of those as I invite you into different parts and different aspects of it in this. But I really wanted to take this time. It was way longer than I expected. I hope that you are still here with me. If you are, let me know that you're still here and what you think of all of this stuff. But I will be inviting you into the Tanya Whittle experience, which will be live free coaching. You will have to be on my mailing list to get an invitation. So if you're not on the mailing list, you won't get an invitation into it, and you won't be able to get, the access to that experience. So you will need to be on there. And otherwise, I really want to show you what I do. And this is the power oftentimes of taking a step back. We hit a wall. That wall is because, hey, you're done here. This level is finished. You're finished this level. And only when we take the space and we work through the process can we really actively, move to the next level, not just move to it, but be really fucking excited about where we're going. And so this clarity and this focus only became possible because I decided to honor the downtime that my body and my mind and my emotions and my spirit were calling for. And in that, the ugly stuff came up, and through that ugly stuff, I could go through it and realize none of that is actually the truth. And the truth is this. And now what am I going to do about it? Right? Becomes, a big part of the process. And there's obviously a lot of stuff inside that process, but ultimately, that's the only reason I'm here. And that's what I do for you, is the same thing as, how do you get everything that you want in life, and how do you stop settling, and how do you stop trading your power, and how do you stop, doing things that you don't want to do, and how do you build a life that you really are excited and love to get up and live every day? How do you find your courage and your power to step into these places of power? so that you can live your best life and be happy and excited about the life that you're living, and not just settling for something, right? So, and stop destroying ourselves and stop holding ourselves back, through whatever avenue that it is that we're doing. So I'm really excited about the future. I've potted all the plants. I've done all the outdoor work. I've done all the sun tanning. I've done all the thinking and the writing and the stuff that I do. And this morning it was very clear when I woke up that today was going to be the day that I was going to share this video, that I was going to send this stuff out to you, that I was going to open back up and let you guys back in, to not just in, but like really fucking deep into this journey where, everything just makes perfect sense, and that we start to move forward towards a new vision, and step into the power of knowing who I am and that I can create it and that I can do it, but really build this community that I've always felt in my heart. And, by the only way that I can do that is by honoring what's in here for me to do and give, and how I do that, and how I serve, and how I, invite you into the conversation. The only way that I could do that is if I walk through that place. Otherwise, we're back there doing something that doesn't feel good. And then if something doesn't feel good and we don't love to do it, then we can't maintain momentum on something that we absolutely don't love. So I'm really excited about, the plans for the future. I'm really excited about all the things that, ultimately what I do hasn't changed. Nothing has ultimately changed about my plans, about where I'm going and what I'm doing. But what has changed is me. This shift happened inside of me. And so the path became clearer, became firmer, and there was a bigger picture emerged. And that's what happens when we're willing to do that deep inner work. And so that's where I really want to go with people, is I want to go back into that place where we're going deeper, not wider. And that's not for everybody, right? This conversation is not going to be for everybody. The work that we need to do inside of ourselves to reclaim our power, so that we can reclaim our rightful place in our own lives, in our careers, in our businesses, in our relationships, in our parenting. In order for us to do that, we've got to be really, like, who we are has to be firm inside of us. And the only way to do that is we've got to go inside. Everything we're seeking is seeking us, and everything we want is ultimately already in here. And our work is to go in here and find it, take it back, so then we can go out into the world and live, our most powerful life. So that's what we're going to do. So stay tuned, because I will be inviting you into, the Tanya Whittle experience. And I'd love to hear your thoughts on the video. I know it was super long. If you're here, I really thank you for, being here for this whole conversation. And just go ahead and leave me a comment. Let me know that you listened to the video, and let me know your takeaways from this. And I will see you soon.